under him. Yet he never had. Despite this, he had risen through the ranks swiftly. As a 2-star, he had gone on to command the illustrious 101st. He had left a mark bone deep on that fighting division that had stood the test of time. He had earned his 3rd and final star and the rank of lieutenant general before his 60th birthday. He was remembered as a soldier's general. He took care of his men, but drove them as relentlessly as he drove himself. As relentlessly as he drove his sons, thought Puller. His men loved and feared him, perhaps more fear than love, now that Puller thought about it. And maybe that was just as true for the sons as the men under his father's command. And now he lay sleeping in his bed at the VA. His world of command was gone, his sphere of influence non-existent, his allotted time on Earth winding down. Puller turned to something that was deeply troubling him. What his brother had said to him had been nearly as astonishing as what Hull and Shore had told him. How could he have misremembered the last day he had seen his mother? His mother had been at that window. She had a towel wrapped around her head. Then she was gone. But now Bobby had told him they'd had dinner together, and his mother had gone out, that the neighbor's daughter had come over to watch the boys. Puller didn't recall any of that. He remembered that he had woken the next morning and his mother was not there. He remembered the MPs coming to the house, then his father charging into the officers' quarters where they lived at Fort Monroe, bellowing at and bullying all those within striking distance. And his father had lied to the police? He stared over at the sleeping man. Why would he have done that? Because he had actually murdered his wife and Puller's mother? It was pretty much unthinkable. And yet Puller had seen enough in his career at CID to know that people were capable of just about anything. He thought back to his early years with his parents. They had argued, but not to an excessive degree. The old man was harder on his sons than on his wife. And Jacqueline Puller, known to all as Jackie, did not possess a submissive personality. If anything, she was more than a match for her husband. The old man would be away, and then he'd come home and try to change the rules of their lives that Jackie Puller had carefully constructed. As the boss of men rushing into combat, Puller Sr. evidently thought he was qualified and entitled to run everything. His wife had not been in agreement on that point. So there had been arguments, words spoken in anger. But didn't most, if not all, marriages have that? Puller didn't know for sure, never having been married, but he had conducted many investigations involving married couples, and he glumly recalled that more than a few involved one spouse murdering the other. He left and went to his car. He got in and punched in the number. Shireen?
Puller? How's it going?
Shireen Kirk had formerly been a JAG, or Judge Advocate General's, lawyer representing those in uniform. She had recently left the military and gone into private practice in Northern Virginia. She had the rep of being a scorched earth lawyer, and that's exactly what Puller required. I need a lawyer.
Okay, so I guess it's not going too well.
Well, my father needs one.
I thought he was in a care facility with Alzheimer's.
Dementia, but yes, he is.
If he did something that someone found out of bounds, I think he'd have a pretty solid diminished capacity defense.
It's not like that. This is from about 30 years ago when he was still in the military.
Okay, what happened?
Puller filled her in on the situation and the letter that Demergian had sent to CID.
That really sucks. You say they want to interview your father?
Yes.
If he's been diagnosed with dementia, he should have counsel there with him. I could even make a case that they can't question him because of his condition. He's liable to say anything, and we don't want him to inadvertently incriminate himself.
No, we don't.
I can take the case.
That's great, Shireen. But can they even charge him if he's not competent?
They can charge anybody, Puller. Competency is a matter for a court to determine. And even if he's not competent to stand trial, they can hold the prosecution in abeyance until he becomes competent, if that ever happens. But that may be worse than him being tried for the crime.
How do you mean?
At least if he's tried, he can defend himself and maybe be acquitted.
Puller slowly nodded. But if he's not tried because he's incompetent, people may assume he's guilty.